welcome back to another video. My name is Jill and today I'm going to be doing my 5,000 subscriber Q&A. So let's get started. I'd like to start off by saying thank you to each and every one of you if you left me a question. I got over 300 questions and it just warms my heart that so many of you guys wanted to ask me questions, and I'm just so excited to answer some of them for you guys today. I decided to do this Q&A not in front of my bookshelves just because one, I've just been standing filming a different video for like an hour, and two, I never get time to show off my beautiful pillows and stuff, so you know, I feel like this would be a really good time for that. And if the lighting suddenly gets really dark, I apologize, but because like I'm sitting in this like different angle thing, apparently my camera decides to dim randomly. Oh wow, I just noticed that I have 5,500 subscribers exactly. Wow, thank you guys so much for being amazing people. Okay, let's get to the video. So I'm going to try to answer everyone's question, but obviously I'm not going to have time for every single one of them, so if I don't get to your question, I am so sorry. But if you comment on another one of my Q&A videos that I'll have in the future, I might answer it in that video. Anyway, so there's no real rhyme or reason to how I'm going to be picking these. I'm just going to sort of be scrolling through and picking ones that seem interesting. The first one I have is, what is one book that surprised you in a good way? For this one, I'm going to go with The Star-Touched Queen by Roshani Chosky. If you guys haven't heard this story before, basically I honestly disliked the first half of this book when I was reading it because I was so confused. It like didn't make any sense to me and it just was not my thing. But then you get to part 2 of the story and everything starts making sense and all the connections are there, and I completely understand why Roshani Chosky told the story in the way that she did, and I ended up loving it. I gave it 5 stars. It was one of my favorite books of 2016. So obviously that book surprised me because I was considering DNFing it, and it turned out to be one of my favorite books of the year. Do you prefer paperback or hardback books? I feel like I get this question a lot. It honest to God depends. Basically my dilemma is that hardcovers are prettier on the shelves, but they are so much more expensive. So I guess if I'm willing to wait for a book, like if it's not a book that I really want to get as soon as it's released, I prefer to get it in paperback just because it's cheaper, but hardcover books look gorgeous on the shelf, plus the hardcover books are really pretty for bookstagram pictures and all that stuff. So aesthetically pleasing wise, I like hardcover books. Paperback books I like because they're cheaper. As far as like which one do I prefer reading, I would say it doesn't really matter to me. If I had to choose one, I would probably say hardbacks, but it honestly, like, I'm not too picky about that kind of thing. If you were to write a book, what genre would you want to debut? And I also got a lot of questions asking me whether or not I am writing my own book, and the answer to that is no. I have a bunch of ideas in my head, 2 potential stories, but my goal is to not necessarily be an author. But if I were to write a book, I would love to write a fantasy novel. All the ideas that are in my head are all fantasy novel-y kind of stuff. So if I had to write a debut, it would be probably fantasy because fantasy is my favorite genre. All my ideas are fantasy. Fantasy is great. What book quote would you get tattooed? I love this question. And I'm on the spot, so I literally don't know. There are so many amazing book quotes out there. If someone like told me right now I had to decide, I would probably do a quote from Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I would probably do the quote that says, "Dream of something wild and improbable, something beautiful and full of monsters." I love that quote so much. I'm sure there are other ones that are better if I like had time to think about it, but right on the spot, that would be my answer. Out of all the Harry Potter books, what is your favorite beast or magical race and why? Nifflers are the best! Oh my gosh, from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Nifflers have my heart. They're my favorite. They're adorable. I love them. I actually have a Niffler keychain. I love him so much. What book did you absolutely love but your friend hated? Oh, I know one. Okay, so my best friend here on booktube is Rayanne from Reading Rayanne, and I know for a fact that she honestly does not like the Shatter Me trilogy by Tahara Mafi. Specifically the first 2 books she really did not like, and she didn't want to finish the series or whatever, but I convinced her to read the last book and she liked the last book alright, but I know she didn't like the first 2 books, and that entire series is one of my favorite series of all time. I love the entire thing. Ignite Me is like my favorite one, but I also really love love the first 2 books in that series too, so that would probably be my answer to that. What is the best place that you visited? But to be honest, I really do not travel a bunch of places. I've only ever been to a couple states, and they're mostly like around my area. The best place I've probably been is probably Disneyland or Destin, Florida. I love both of those places. I used to go to Disneyland every single year because I used to be a hip-hop dancer, and we used to compete in Disneyland every year when I was like a youngin', so we would always go to Disneyland, and I love Disneyland. It's a wonderful place. Oh yeah, here's that question. Do you plan on writing a book? If so, who author will be your inspiration? Again, I'm not planning on writing a book right now, but my inspiration would probably be Sarah J. Maas, because I just love her books so much and they honestly inspire me to write. Also Laini Taylor recently, because her writing is so gorgeous. V.E. Schwab is another one who I just love. Leigh Bardugo. Basically all the big fantasy writers would be my inspirations because I love them so much. How old are you and what's your major in school? So I am 17 and a half. I'm going to be 18 in August, so obviously I'm not in college yet, and I also got a lot of questions asking me what my major is going to be, and so I definitely want to major in English. Okay, I love books. Books are my passion. Books are my happy place. I'm going to be majoring in a field where I can be around books, and my main basically goal is, again, not to be an author, but I want to be in the publishing world. I want to be in marketing, editing, publishing, that kind of stuff. I want to help authors get their books published. I'm hoping to major in English. I might be also maybe double majoring or minoring in business, because again, like, publishing has a bunch to do with like the business aspect and stuff like that. Anyway, so yeah. What is your favorite book cover of 2016? My absolute favorite one. That's such a hard decision because there's so many amazing covers. I would say, just like on the spot, probably The Sun Is Also Star by Nicola Yoon, because that is just a gorgeous book cover. Oh my lord. What is the first book that got you into a major book slump? It must have been either Mockingjay by Susan Collins or Allegiant by Veronica Roth. I wasn't a big reader when I was reading those series, so after like I finished both of those, I like didn't read for a long time. But I think like after Mockingjay, I was just so done that I just didn't want to read anything else, so probably Mockingjay. If you could be a character with another's power, who and what power? Okay, this is such a good question because there's so many people with so many amazing powers. I would say either Aelin from Throne of Glass series, Vin from Mistborn, because she is like the definition of badass. Where do you read and how long do you read per day? So as far as how long do I read per day, it honestly depends so much on what day it is. If it's a normal school night, I might read for about an hour before I go to bed. So one of my things is that when I'm reading a book that is especially action-packed, I have to move. It's like also when I'm talking on the phone, I'm one of those people that paces up and down because I have all this energy and I don't know where to go, so I literally like move all around the house. So there's not like a place where I sit and curl up and read. I can't do that. I gotta move. So it's either my bed, my mom's bed, the couch in the living room, or like the kitchen table or my desk out there. Literally, or like literally anywhere. Like I move around all over the place. Do you have brothers or pets? That's a really awesome pairing that you just did there. Yes, I actually have 2 half brothers. One is probably watching now, and both of them are, all of my siblings are way older than I am. So I didn't really grow up with them in the house. And yes, I do have pets. I have 2 cats and a dog. This is my cat, which we've had for the longest time, and her name is Catherine, but we call her Preem. Don't ask how that evolution of that name came about. Then my second cat, she's basically evil. Her name is Jarbo, but we call her Bo. And then my dog is Charlie, and he's just a goofball. I cannot handle him. What was the book or series that really sparked your love for reading? Again, there's so many that sparked my love for reading. I actually did a video way back of all the books that I'm thankful for, and that's basically a video long response to this question, because like I stopped and went so much with reading. Probably the book that got me into YA reading was probably The Hunger Games, Harry Potter was also really prominent. The Legend series by Marie Lu. So many that I just love. Who is your favorite Harry Potter character? There's so many amazing people in Harry Potter. I love Sirius Black. He's like the best. I love Harry himself. And I really love Newt Scamander. I know it's not from the original Harry Potter series, but Newt is adorable. If you had to get rid of all of your books and only keep one, what would it be? I've gotten so many variations of this question about my house burning down and like if I only had to say one book, which one would it be? And that is the cruelest question ever. I'm tempted to say my copy of A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas just because it's like my favorite book ever. Maybe my copy of A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens because that is also really close to my heart. Just imagining all my books burning makes me depressed. Oh my god. If you were going to marry any character from the Mortal Instruments, the Dark Artifices, or the Infernal Devices, who would you choose and why? Oh lord. Okay, so I'm gonna cheat and say two people because I literally cannot choose. I'm going to say Julian Blackthorne from the Dark Artifices. I love him. He is the cutest, most darling boy ever. I love him, and his relationship with Emma is goals, and I love Julian. And also I'm gonna say Jem Carstairs because I am a hardcore Jem lover. I'm not a huge fan of Will. I've always loved Jem. So that's my answer, either Jem or Julian. What is one book that you would recommend to everyone to read? Strange Dreamer by Laini Taylor. It's so good and it's out now. Please go get it. I love it so much. What book that is not well known do you love the most? There are so many sort of like underhyped books. I think I'm going to go with The Serpent King by Jeff Zettner. I read this arc in preparation because I knew that I was going to meet him at an author event, and I was so surprised by how moved I was by this book. It's honestly fantastic. Like it broke my heart into a million pieces, and I wasn't expected to be connected to it at all, and honestly people don't talk about it enough. So definitely The Serpent King. If you were a villain, who would you be? That's such a good question. I guess I would say, oh gosh, this is so hard. Maybe Kath from Heartless, just because like I recently read it and I can completely understand how she sort of like goes into the dark side, and I feel like I could like sort of be like her, like the similar events would happen to where I would end up how she is. I'm not exactly sure. That's a really interesting question. I need to think about that one more. Would you want to enter Hogwarts or Ilvermorny? Hogwarts, obviously. London is amazing. Which is the novel that changed your point of view in life after reading it? That is a huge question. Right off the bat, I'm gonna say A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, and also Strange Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I'm telling you guys, this book changed my life. What's your favorite color? My favorite color is purple, like in general, but I also love maroon for like clothes and stuff. I also got this question a ton, and that is, would you ever consider reading YA books originally published in other languages? I also got a lot of questions concerning languages, whether I spoke any other languages, or whether I read books in other languages, all that kind of stuff. A bunch of stuff about language, so I'll just answer all of those right now. I would love reading YA books originally published in a different language. I think I've read a few. I'm not exactly sure. But I would love, like, I have nothing against reading books originally published in a different language. I personally am not fluent in any other language. I took 5 years of Latin, and I'm going to be taking 2 years of Greek. But considering that Latin and Greek, specifically ancient Greek, is not necessarily spoken, I'm not fluent in it. And yeah, so basically that's where I am with the language thing. What TV shows do you recommend? Okay, so I think in my last Q&A I talked about how I don't have a lot of time to watch TV, and that is true, but I recently completely binge watched this one series, and that is Game of Thrones. Oh my god, I watched every single one of these episodes and it is so freaking good. Now, this show is rated X. So if you're probably below the age of 17, even if you are that old, please ask for your parents' permission because there is explicit, violent, and sexual content in this show. But it is so good. Oh my god. Season 6, if you love fantasy, please watch this, and if you're old enough, please watch it because it's so good. I love it so much. Other than that, I don't really watch a lot of TV shows. What is your favorite and least favorite book? I always get the what is my favorite book question, and I will say as of now, it is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas. That is my favorite book as of right now. I have a bunch of ones that are very close to favorite, but this is probably my favorite based on enjoyment level. My least favorite book probably right now would probably be The Last Star by Rick Yancey. I rant about this book all throughout my 2016 most disappointed reads. This book annoyed me and it made me want to like kill everyone in it, basically. What author would be your dream to meet? Ooh, I really love this question too. There are so many. I would say Cassandra Clare. I haven't met Cassie yet, and she's like one of my favorite authors ever, and I just want to meet her so much. Lady Taylor, Alexandra Bracken. I really want to meet Alexandra Bracken because she lives in the same state that I do, but I've never met her before. I also really want to meet Adam Silvera. Oh, I want to meet him so bad. Who is your favorite character in the Infernal Devices and why? Jem Carstairs. If you didn't have a booktube, what kinds of videos would you like to make? I would say maybe like live talking videos, like sort of sitting down and talking about like issues and stuff like that, especially in today's like political world. That might be fun to do. I can't do the makeup because that just would be too stressful for me. Do you have a job? I would say that I have a job. It's kind of like a job slash internship. I work at my local bookstore, Changing Hands Bookstore, and I basically go down there 2 hours a week, and I work in the teen and children's section, and I basically like shelf stuff and help customers and talk about books and all that kind of stuff. But I do get paid, but I get paid in store credit. I get paid like $10 an hour for it. So that's really fun. So it's sort of a job, but it's sort of like an internship. Like my leader boss lady Emmy always says that I practically work there, so there's that. Do you prefer reading standalones or series? So it depends. I would say that I love a good series, but there's like literally every single book out there is a series now, so I would prefer maybe for there to be more standalones, but I do like me a good series, so I guess sort of both depending on the series, because there's some series that just don't need sequels to it. Would you rather have a penguin or a giraffe as a pet? I love this question. I would probably say a penguin, just because I don't know where the giraffe would go. Then again, I don't know where the penguin would go, but I feel like the penguin would be easier to accommodate, if that makes sense. Okay, which fictional character would you like to have as a sibling? Kenji from the Shatter Me trilogy. Kenji is adorable. I love him so much. What is the first book that comes to mind when you see this emoji? So it's like the crying cat emoji. Oh my god. It's not technically a book per se, but the first thing that I think of when I see that emoji is the Mockingjay movie when Katniss is yelling at the cat. Like, she's like having a mental breakdown and she's yelling at the cat. I'm not gonna spoil like what scene it is, but if you've seen Mockingjay, you know what I'm talking about. If you could spend a day with any character, who would it be? Reese. And next up, I have, since I love controversial topics, I want to ask what books that you wish you could unread and why? There are so many, but the first one that comes to mind is The Last Star by Rick Yancey, because reading that book just completely ruined the series for me. I loved the first two books, but that last book, literally the characters were nothing like I remembered them. I really just disliked the characters so much in that book, and it just ruined the entire thing for me. What character in a book you've hated so much that you want to punch in the face? I'll give you a hint. Starts with a T and it rhymes with Bamlin. Would you name your kid after a character, and if so, which character? Oh my gosh, for sure. I actually have two names that I really love together, and that is Liam Carton. Carton is from Sydney Carton from A Tale of Two Cities, and Liam is inspired by Liam from the Darkest Mind series by Alexandra Bracken. So I think that's going to be all the questions that I'm going to answer. I'm sorry there are so many amazing ones, but I just don't have enough time for this. I'm sure this video is already so long as it is, but before I end, I just want to do a special little section here because some of my personal friends that I know in real life asked me questions, and they were so thoughtful and kind to ask me these questions. And recently, like, all of my friends found out about my booktube channel. So the first one I have is from my friend Maggie, and she says, "Hey Hottie, I was wondering if you could date anyone in any book universe, who would it be? Sorry there isn't a book written about me. Hehe, love you." Obviously Reese. I mean, we all know that it would be Reese from A Court of Mist and Fury because I'm in love with him. My friend Skylar asked, at the rate you're going, how long will it take you before you need new shelves? I'm planning on getting maybe like a smaller bookshelf over there because I am like rapidly running out of room. I'm gonna have to like get rid of my Hamilton bookshelf really soon because I like am running out of room and it's crazy. So I would say probably by like the end of summer I'm probably going to need a new one. My friend Zach asked if you could be any mythological creature, what would it be? And if it's something common, be specific. How specific do you want this to be? I mean, I don't know what you want from me from this question. I don't know how specific you want me to be. I mean, just off the top of my head, I would say like a purple dragon. You probably want more specific than that, but that's all you're gonna get right now. So my friend Reagan asked me who is better, the Capped Crusader or the Dark Knight? And fun fact, Reagan is obsessed with Marvel. And he likes to make fun of me for not knowing things about Marvel. So I don't even know what you want from me with this question. I'm just gonna say the Dark Knight because why the hell not? And finally, my friend Audrey asked, what is the perfect way to get asked to prom? A sign with either a Hamilton pun or a book pun on it, basically. If all the world's a stage, where does the audience sit? Hey, you know what, Audrey? If you keep going west, you just end up going east. Favorite line from King John? Zounds, I have never been so bethumped for words until I called my brother's father dad. If you could tell Lynn anything, what would you tell him? That he is perfection in and of itself. And how much do you love me? About this much. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this Q&A. I'm sorry again because the lighting was really weird. I have all my social media linked down below. Give this video a like if you enjoyed. And please let me know if you want a part 2 to this video. My battery's about to die, so I'm going to go now. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!